Gallant. Oh my god, Gallant. This is my 6th reread, and I cannot wait to talk to you about it because this book holds such a special place in my heart. I cannot tell you. Gallant is the main character. Olivia she's a mute, and I suffered from selective mutism when I was a child. I had that a couple of times and I get overwhelmed as an adult. It's the impossibility to speak. It's that I can't. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I can't open my mouth to talk. I can't engage in conversation. People can talk to me, but it's like one word answers. Like, there's hardly anything there. But Olivia generally cannot speak. She's a complete mute. But what makes me fall in love with this book is, yes, Olivia is a mute, but no, she is not quiet. She is loud. She makes you know you are there, and she does not let you ignore her. If you are refusing to look at her signs, you turn away, she will smash something on the ground and be like, look at me. Like, don't ignore me just because I'm a mute. And I just love this. Olivia Pryor is living at the house of Mair Alys, and she is, again, because she's mute, people tend to not regard her very well. She hates that place, hates the matrons, all of this going on. And one day she gets a letter from her uncle calling her home to Gallant. Olivia, 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 remember this. The shadows cannot touch, are not real. The dreams are only dreams, cannot hurt you. And you will be safe as long as you stay away from Gallant. Like, imagine reading that and then she's on her way to Gallant. It's creepy. This book is so atmospheric. Like, the way V E SCHWAB just writes, it draws you into the story. It's so beautiful, but it's not overly purple. There is so much, like, the way she writes descriptions, the way she writes of the house, of how Mair Alys is so grey and dull, and you get the feeling that it's not a place to like or even love. It's full of darkness and shadow and just depression. Then you go to Gallant, and while it is also full of light and love, it is old, it is mysterious, and then there's the other Gallant, the Gallant beyond the wall, the Gallant you have to stay away from, and that is full of shadows, that is full of death, that is full of darkness, but it's done in a different way than what Mair Alys was. Mair Alys was depression, Gallant is just death, and there's a different feeling to both, and it's just... Olivia gets to Gallant, she's dropped off, none of them know why she's there, because the uncle didn't write the letter, didn't know. Her cousin is basically like, you shouldn't be here, you need to leave, right? Because of Gallant, the other Gallant, of what could happen, because there should always be a Pryor at Gallant. And he's the last one, or he thought he was the last one, and he's not anymore, and he's looking sick, he's looking wan, he's looking ill. And no one's telling her why. No one's telling her what she's meant to do. And then she meets Hannah and Egda. Egda, who used to be in the war, and then Hannah, she's the sweetest old lady, and they've got the sweetest romance, and they're just lovely. They welcome her in. They almost don't want her to leave. So every time Matthew's asking if you call for a car, Hannah makes up an excuse, and it's just I just love that side of it, and the characters really bring it alive. But Olivia is the soul of this story, the complete soul, and it's just perfect. She brings it to life unlike any other character could. You know, how everything is just so full of atmosphere, and how when she steps beyond the wall, what happens, how she learns, how strong she is, how she is standing up against death, how unsilent she is when she cannot talk. It's just, and the found family, and then the ending, how everything just came together, it made me cry. It just made me cry. So Olivia Pryor can see ghouls, right? We don't know why. We learn why, but we don't know why in the beginning, and they're just there and they just exist. It's like cool. And then she gets to the house, she sees more ghouls, she starts exploring, and you're starting to feel this creepiness, this atmospheric around this house, around what's happening, and she's starting to unravel. And then she helps Matthew with the weeds in the garden, how there's always more weeds, more growing through, like something that more than should be possible. And then there's the wall, and then you think there's field beyond the wall, but there isn't a field beyond the wall, because at night it changes, it mirrors the other Gallant, and there's shadows, there's things, there's places, everything is dark, everything is twisted, everything is dead. There's no animals at all around Gallant. It's so perfect. This is just Olivia Pryor. I'm just going to read some. I just love this book. I'm just going to read some quotes, okay? She here wanted to scream, not in pain, but in sheer exasperated fury that there was so much noise inside her and she could not let it out. That is just Olivia. Like, she wanted but she couldn't, and then she knocked over a potato. She made herself be heard. I've just finished this book, but already I want to pick it up and peel through the pages. If I could, I would literally bury these pages inside my bones, inside my blood. I would ingest it, because this is a book that felt like it was written for me. It showcases what it's like to be mute and what it's like for people just to ignore you, but then Olivia refusing to let that happen, to have agency, to be loud, and so loud. And it's full of illustrations that when you kind of figure out who draws these illustrations as you go through this book, because they are just stunning. And the audiobook, there's a part in the audiobook where the audiobook is reading from the journal that's in this book, and there are lines that are crossed out, and in the audiobook you can hear them crossing out with a pen, because on the page you can see it. You can see the words written and the lines crossed out, but the word's still there, and the audiobook does it well. And it's one of those ones that it literally, I don't know which one I prefer. Like, I love the audiobook. I love how the narrator does it. It was the perfect voice for Olivia Pryor. It's a male narrating it, because Olivia is mute, so obviously it cannot be in her voice. And I love that, and I love how it's just, everything is just done, and it's just so, it's just perfect. I just loved it. It holds such a special place for me in my heart. Like, I am somebody who cannot see when I read books, and yeah, I remember reading this passage. There was a man in the garden. He stumbles as if sick or drunk, falls down and gets back to his feet, dragging his tired body past the flowers, pale in moonlight, past the trellises and hedges, past Olivia, who sits watching on a low stone bench, unable to move. He surges by, legs unsteady, as he passes the final row of roses and heads for the sloping stretch of grass toward the garden wall. I could see that vividly in my head. I can't see when I read. Generally I can't. I feel it, but I saw that. I could see it, a faint outline in my mind of just what is happening. Gallant is such a beautiful lyrical story that is very much at its core about finding a home and finding family and finding somewhere where you are wanted when everybody else or everywhere else doesn't want you, and willing to fight for it. That is Gallant at its heart. And it's so much more than that. There's so much more to the characters. There's so much more. Like, the setting feels alive. Like, if you've read Haunting of Hill House, you can feel that setting alive. This is different, but it's the same. It's creepy, but it's alive. It's cozy and creepy at the same time. And there is nothing that I could think of bad to say about this. Am I biased? I could be. I would read another book like this, but I think it works well for being a standalone, and it works well for being as short as it is. The last line of the book had me crying, and even on a 6th reread, and I cannot tell you why, because it is a spoiler, but it's a scene that is full of love, loss and grief, but most importantly family, and finding that place of having that home. It's Gallant is just perfect. I cannot give any other words. That it is just perfection. I love Olivia Pryor. I love how V E SCHWAB just wrote this book, and it was so lyrical and beautiful, and it felt alive as I'm reading the pages. Those are my non-spoiler thoughts on Gallant. I immediately want to go pick this up again, and I've just read it, and it's, I might have to do the audiobook as I go to bed, because I cannot express to you how much I love this book, and I cannot express how much this book means to me. I don't know, is it topping One of the Many? It very well could. That it means that much to me, especially on the 6th reread, and I'm still here crying as I'm reading it. I'm annotating it, and it's lovely. So, have I sold you on Gallant yet? Let me know down below. If not, let me know if you've read this book, and we can talk about it together. Even if you didn't like it, that's totally fine. I'm not one of those people. You can love it, you can hate it. I just love it. I just love it. So on that note, I will see you in the next one.